Welcome to Bitcoins and Gravy, episode 44. At the time of this recording, Bitcoins are trading at $378 each. LTB coins are trading at 0.00019 US dollars. Now that's gravy. Welcome to Bitcoins and Gravy, and thanks for joining me today as I podcast from East Nashville, Tennessee, with my trusty dog Maxwell by my side. Say hello, Maxwell. We're two Bitcoin enthusiasts who love talking about Bitcoins and sharing what we learn with you, the listener. Thanks so much for listening to Bitcoins and Gravy, and we hope you enjoy the show. On today's show, I travel all the way to Cyprus, the island country of about 1 million people basking in the sun and surrounded on all sides by the Mediterranean Sea. I have the pleasure of speaking with Mario Neoglios about the bright future of my all-time favorite altcoin, SolarCoin. I also speak with Ivana Mladenovic Neoglios about her luxury natural soy wax candles and her retail business, CandleLitDay, that is now accepting SolarCoin payments. Today I am thrilled to be talking with Mario Neoglios and Ivana Mladenovic Neoglios. Guys, welcome to Bitcoins and Gravy.
Hi, thank you.
It's good to be here.
Yes, great to have you guys here. Tell me, if you would first, please, where are you both from?
Well, I was born in London, actually, hence the English accent.
All right.
And I'm originally Serbian.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, yeah, I was born in Belgrade, but we came to Cyprus when I was 13.
Okay. And now how did you and Mario meet?
Oh, wow. That's a long story. Well, Mario's family, they owned a hotel.
Okay.
And I just went to the hotel bar and I met him there.
And the rest is history, as they say.
Oh, man. So are you guys telling me that if I come to Cyprus and just sit at a hotel bar, I might meet my future wife?
Well, yeah, I thought you were already married,
No.
Being a presenter of a well-known podcast, it should be easy for you.
Just say it's celebrity.
Just being a celebrity, right. Thank you, celebrity. I appreciate that. Well, you would think so. But oddly and sadly, that is not the case. Maybe I should just let my listeners know, ladies, hey, I'm single. I don't know if I should tell them my age. I'll just leave it as I'm a very young and vibrant, strong and attractive looking, less than middle-aged man. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Great.
With a hit song, I may add.
Oh, with a hit song? Oh, thank you very much. So is it fair to say I've got a lot going for me?
No, definitely. We haven't actually seen how you look, though, because it is a radio podcast, but...
You heard it here first, folks. Mario and Ivana think that I've got a lot going for me, so... So you guys are concentrating on something that I'm very interested in because I have interviewed the key players, the developers of the SolarCoin project, the SolarCoin. Right?
Yeah, and I've been with you all the way. Heard all of the interviews, all three of them.
Nice. Yeah, it started with Jolie, then Nick Gogarty, who's one of the developers, I think, right? And then Joseph Zatoli, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so SolarCoin, you guys are doing something with SolarCoin, and you're probably in one of the best places in the world because I'm going to guess that there on the island in the country of Cyprus, you guys get a lot of sun there in the Mediterranean, just south of Turkey, right?
Yeah, there is definitely a lot of sun. I mean, just up to last week, people were still at the beach.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, things have changed this week, but last week people were at the beach.
That's where I need to be. Well, anyway, so let's see. What are you guys doing with SolarCoin? Ivana has a business called CandleLitDay where you make luxury natural soy wax candles, right?
Yeah, among other stuff, but that is the primary aspect of the business, candles, yes.
Let me start with Mario, and I'll ask the question, Mario, why SolarCoin?
Okay, well, the first place I actually heard about SolarCoin was on your show, actually, the interview you had with Jolie. That's what piqued my interest initially for the SolarCoin. Yeah, so you're getting the word out there. This led to what I call a quest for knowledge. I started researching the coin, the people, the infrastructure. The first thing I saw was a paper called the Deco Proposal, which was a proposal for electricity-backed currency. Basically, this proposal outlines why an electricity-backed currency can hold its economic value more effectively than gold or debt-based currencies. If you read this paper, which is fascinating, it makes an effective argument for using solar power as a stable currency instead of a debt-based economy. in a debt-based currency, the value of the currency decreases over time, but with solar power, the value remains pretty much constant throughout. And obviously, you know, like I was reading this paper, it was fascinating, and I needed to know who the guys that wrote this paper, and these names, Nick Gogarty and Joseph Zitoli, came up. So doing my due diligence, shall we say, I took a quick look at their LinkedIn profiles, and these guys were really impressive. Both guys have extensive background in finance and economics. Nick's even got a published book. It's called The Nature of Value.
Yep.
And so immediately I knew this wasn't, you know, some kids in a basement that just decided to make a coin. You know, these were some really pretty credible guys, you know. So going on from there, what we effectively have with SolarCoin is the Deco proposal, which was initially meant to be proposed to the banks, but obviously banks are very rigid in their ways. They're not interested in hearing such crazy things as a different kind of currency. So they decided to use blockchain technology instead. So we had the Earth's greatest resource, the sun, which becomes effectively a commodity, with SolarCoin grants being a representation of that commodity. One SolarCoin is granted for every megawatt of hour electricity generated by a PV system. And the people behind the concept were knowledgeable and credible. And also the community itself is amazing. You know, I mean, I'm on the forums every day. We have people like Jolie who work tirelessly every day helping people. And we have smart developers. We have this smart young man actually in Japan who's almost finished a prototype gadget which connects to a solar PV system and can talk directly to a network. So effectively, future grants can be done directly to the blockchain through the network with no actual person or persons required to be in the middle. So I've been interested in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency for probably about, how long has it been?
About a year.
About a year since I started, maybe a bit over a year. And I've had good success in this time, you know, picking the right coins to invest in. And I've done pretty well so far. And I like a coin that tells a story. You know, I think these are the coins that will ultimately succeed. You know, Bitcoin was the pioneer. It was the first, obviously. I think Litecoin is very popular because it was the second coin. But ultimately, for me, my roots are firmly grounded now in the SolarCoin. I think it is one of those coins which has true economic value, and you can count on one hand the coins that can do that. And I think SolarCoin is the one.
What do you see as a future for SolarCoin, and why do you see it succeeding?
Okay, that's a good question. To answer that question, I would need to go back a bit. Basically, I think the popularity of cryptocurrencies in general will increase significantly as the world effectively gets poorer based on the current debt-based currencies that we have. I mean, I just mentioned quantitative easing, which means that effectively these countries are pumping more fiat currency into their countries, effectively devaluing the actual currencies. And then you have things like the fiasco that happened in Cyprus. You were aware of the bail-in that happened in Cyprus.
Yeah, and I think that actually they've changed the law books here in the United States, so I think we are now scheduled, tentatively scheduled to have our own bail-ins, but who knows, it may not be a year or 5 years, but I believe that there are laws now on the books that pertain to banks that would make those bail-ins legal here. And I think for here it would be anyone who has over $250,000 in a bank account. But, you know, when it happens, it's going to be a shocker to people, as it's happened here in the United States already. We've seen pension funds robbed. We've seen that around the world. I think that's going to happen more and more. So, okay, SolarCoin and other digital currencies, I agree with you. I think they're going to go up in value, and we're going to see more of them, hopefully, you know, more real ones like SolarCoin, as the world economies get worse and worse. It almost looks like these countries are in a race to devalue their currencies. And, you know, a lot of people think that when you look at the East, when you look at places like Singapore, that those might be the emerging economies that end up doing pretty well, even as Portugal, Spain, Cyprus, Greece, much of Europe, Ireland, the United States, we might be falling as Singapore and China are rising up. It could happen that way.
It's actually really sad what happened to Cyprus. Cyprus is actually a small island. I think, Mario, it's about 1 million people on the whole island.
Okay.
And I came here in 92. I came in the 90s. And you know what? The island was so family oriented. You could see mom and pop shops everywhere. And people used to live, and they used to live really well on these small businesses. They used to have good lives. It was full of tourists. It was really nice. And it's really, really sad what was done to Cyprus. And really not to get into politics, but now people are struggling. They're really struggling. For the first time, I mean, I don't remember for the past 20-something years, people are hungry.
Yeah.
Going back to this bail-in plan, I mean, as Ivana was saying, in the 90s, Cypriots had this name for being quite lazy. They used to call us lazy around Europe and everything because they were used to European ways, like working all day and all night, and coming home late and then going back to work the day after. In Cyprus, we had a very, very easygoing way of life. We weren't part of Europe. We knew how to appreciate the finer things, to take our time and
Siesta.
Siesta. We had siestas. And then we joined Europe, and slowly, the decline of Cyprus happened, which brought us to the bail-in 3 years ago, which effectively gave the banks, our banks collapsed, as you know, and we were forced to accept the terms of the Troika, which is the tripartite committee, which is the European Commission, European Central Bank, and the International Monetary Fund, which said they would lend us the money, but they wanted to see certain things happen. One of those things was a haircut, which effectively gave the right to the government to steal anything over 100,000 euro from people's accounts. So there could be people with €1 million in the bank, and they would wake up the next day and see that they had 100,000 in their bank. The rest was gone.
I think the biggest problem was, to start the whole thing, it's when Cyprus got captured by the IMF and the ECB. And at that time, wasn't the ECB and the IMF run by Adolf Hitler? Oh no, wait, it wasn't Adolf Hitler. It was Angela Merkel. I'm sorry, I get those two confused because they both have nice legs. They both have nice. But anyway, yeah, I think that was the problem. Is that places like Cyprus got suckered in, places like Ireland got suckered in, and I think in some situations there were even referendum votes where the people said, no, we don't want to, but still, you voted, we don't care, we're going to suck you in, we're going to grab you in. What was the objective of that? It seems to me that Merkel's objective at the time was to capture these countries and to capture their wealth and basically just to rob them, right? So it's like basically a giant organized crime syndicate, right?
Well, regarding Cyprus, I believe, and many people believe here, that Cyprus was simply a test bed. 1 million people, try out bail-in, see how the public react, and see where we go from there. There were other options. There's talk of all kinds of options that we had to pay back this debt. But we were forced to take the option for Troika, which was ultimately the worst option. Think about this. Ivana's mother's neighbor, their family had just inherited a piece of land, which they subsequently... From their parents who passed away. They sold the land for, I'm not sure exactly how much it was, 500,000-600,000 euro. And they had the money, which they had in a bank account, ready to split.
But we are talking about people in their 60s, so not young people who are retired, that was their money that they're going to live for the rest of their life on.
And they were ready to split it amongst the children, and they woke up 2 days later to find that the money had been taken by the government.
How much of the money? It was
just 400,000 of it, leaving 100,000.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly. And it gets worse because the government announced the bail-in on the day of a public holiday. They closed all the ATM machines, so no one could go to an ATM machine. They announced on a public holiday, when the banks were closed, that they were going to effectively steal from everyone's accounts on that day. And then they closed the banks for a week, and they closed the ATM machines, and no one had any access to any of their funds. But interestingly enough, the big fish in Cyprus, the big companies, had already moved their money outside of Cyprus a week earlier. So the rich knew that this was going to happen, and they had the opportunity to transfer their money out of the country, leaving us normal people to pick up the debt.
Unbelievable.
And that's the way our government works.
And it's after what happened in Cyprus, that the Bitcoin shot up, didn't it?
Yes, and that's actually the points that I was actually getting to. It was that the Bitcoin saw a spike from, I think it was about $30. It shot up to almost $200.
That's right. I remember it.
From Cyprus, the problems in Cyprus, and a lot of that was Cypriots that were investing in Bitcoin, and that was just 1 million people. which is why I think popularity of cryptocurrencies is going to increase. If that's a test bed with 1 million people, can you imagine if this happens to a semi-decent sized population, to see how much it would increase?
This is the first time I've talked to some people in Cyprus who have a very first-hand example of this happening to someone that they know. And that's horrible. If people here could feel, just through listening to this, just to feel how that would feel. I once had the state of California rob $1,200 out of my bank account. It took me 3 days, almost a week, to clear the thing up. And so they understood, we shouldn't have involved you in this at all. So they put the $1,200 back in my bank account, minus $100, which was a processing fee. So basically they stole $100 from me, right? The tax collectors there in California, and they didn't have there's no recourse. What am I going to do? Hire a lawyer and sue them and spend all that money, right? So what are people in Cyprus doing now? What's the current climate now in Cyprus as far as you guys can tell?
Unfortunately, they're not doing anything. They're not doing much. Being Mediterranean people and quite temperamental, I thought, to tell you the truth, when there was talk of a haircut, I was even hoping that it would happen, because I thought that would be something that would push people on the streets, but it didn't.
Yeah, no one.
I
really
thought,
active.
I thought that would be, just a push too far, and that people will rebel.
Yeah, we thought there'll be riots. We thought they would storm the presidential palace. We thought all these things, but I guess
Unfortunately, nothing happened. And this story that you just said, today I went to the accountant and they introduced some new tax that I had to pay for the company, and they just decided from this year, just another way to get money. So I went to pay, thinking, that it's going to be for this year. No. They're taxing me for all the years that I had the company, even though they just decided to introduce it.
And this is the problem in Cyprus right now, is the government is trying to squeeze every last drop out of every citizen any way they can. It's become like a Robin Hood state. You've got the evil sheriff of Nottingham going around squeezing taxes out of everyone. We've seen increased taxation, VAT's increased. New taxes are introduced all the time. Last month I heard of a cemetery tax. All of a sudden we're being taxed.
For the dead. Oh, man.
We've got forced company income tax payments for unaudited accounts. I received a €15,000 taxation bill for a company that has been non-operating since 1998, 1997. And they're saying, well, you haven't audited since that time and the company's still open. So unless you can prove that you don't owe us this money, you owe us €15,000. And I go to an accountant and say, I need to audit these books so that I can prove that I don't owe this money. When he goes, well, it's actually going to cost you more than the €15,000 to audit from all this way, all the way back to 1998. So
good Lord.
You see, this is the kind of things that's happening. Postage fees. Post has gone up, increase of 200% to send anything abroad.
I have to say, I think we're trickier here in the United States, because what we're doing here, I think the plan here is to have the increases be so small but so frequent. They're very small increases, but they're coming with more frequency, right? But if you keep it small, it's that old story of boiling the frog in the water. You put it in the cool water and you slowly bring the temperature up.
People don't realize.
And they don't realize it. But, the Cyprus thing as a test, I believe Andreas Antonopoulos believes that it was a test. But, who do you rob from first? Well, your average person does not have $500,000 or 500,000 euros or the equivalent in a bank account, right? So you rob from those people first. And those people generally are, they're not the rough and ready people. They're usually not the bartenders that carry a knife in their back pocket. You know what I'm saying? In other words, they're the people you can rob from and you can piss them off, and they're probably not going to attack you, right? You can probably get away with that. They weren't robbing from the people that had, $100 in their bank account, right? It was over a certain amount, right? The bail-in. So I think I think we'll see the same thing here. And again, if you rob from that group of people, here it'll be the doctors, the lawyers, the IT guys. You'll see lawsuits galore here. You'll see people in the streets. But until they start to rob from the working class people and really rob from them in a substantial way, I don't think you'll see riots here or elsewhere. But on the other hand, at some point it will have to break. At some point, the stealing can only go on for so long, can only go so far. When you have organized crime in charge of governments, controlling governments. Before too long, there is going to be rebellion. There is going to be, unfortunately, there is going to be violence. And that's the part of it that I hate, is that all of this is going to lead ultimately to violence. And that's just really horrible. There are forces in the world. People don't believe me when I say this. There are forces in the world, governments that want to see chaos, that want to see violence, that want to see war. I don't know how long it will take us to eradicate those people somehow from this planet, or that they just stop having children somehow, or they all get sterile magically, So I don't know how long that'll take, but it'll be a grand day when when the warmongers are no longer with us. So, okay, let's see. I tend to digress. You know what, you guys...
Well, actually, I digressed as well. The question was, why SolarCoin? And we went off on a tangent. But no, the future of SolarCoin, that was right. Okay, moving back on track, I guess. Got that out of our systems.
Right. Now, what is Neo and B?
Neo and B. So Bitcoin became very popular in Cyprus at the time. And this is when a company called Neo and B came along. Neo and B was this amazing concept. They actually were interviewed on the Let's Talk Bitcoin podcast. It was the idea of a man called Danny Brewster, who had this fantastic concept that really had the ability to change the whole Bitcoin environment globally. Basically, people would open up an account and deposit funds at one of the Neo and B stores, which were effectively like banks. They would put euro into an account and they would receive a credit card. You see, but behind that, they didn't know that this card was actually, well, they did know, but they wouldn't care. It wouldn't be anything that they would be interested in. But the money was actually converted to Bitcoin. So these credit cards were effectively Bitcoin cards. So you would have people with Bitcoin credit cards. And on the other hand, you would also have point of sale equipment in stores which could accept these cards. So you would have all these retailers that would have these POS machines, these point of sale machines, which a card could be swiped or a QR code could be scanned. And basically their idea was to flood Cyprus with portals which could accept Bitcoin transactions, which would have been amazing. It would have actually been an actual working model which your grandmother could understand. It would be like my grandmother having a credit card.
Right.
If she wanted, that's all she needed to know. And the store itself had the option to accept Bitcoin transactions and convert them immediately into euro, or they could keep them as Bitcoin if they wanted. So it was a win-win for everyone, and it was very good for the Bitcoin community in whole. And all eyes basically were on Neo and B in Cyprus at that time, because this really, if it worked, it could revolutionize Bitcoin. They spent millions on advertising. Basically, they got investment in Bitcoin and they spent millions on advertising. Everywhere you went in Cyprus, you would see big billboards saying, "Who is Neo?" There'll be a TV campaign saying, "Who is Neo?" Radio, "Who is Neo?" This was the advertising campaign. And one day, Neo revealed himself in a very extravagant opening launch, which I was actually there, and I got time to speak to the CEO, Danny Brewster, who was he was an interesting guy. He seemed very passionate about Bitcoin, and so they spent a lot of money on this whole thing, and everyone was excited, and everything looked really promising. But a month later, it's like disaster struck. Danny actually fled Cyprus under accusations of gross financial negligence, with warrants being issued for his arrest. No one really knows what happened. He was saying that his daughter was threatened and his life was threatened, and that's why he left. Other people are saying that there was gross negligence involved, and actually he overspent. He spent all the money. Others say that the money was lost in empty gogs. So it became a running joke, actually, in Cyprus, from "Who is Neo?" It became "Where is Neo?"
Oh, no.
Everyone started joking, "Where is Neo?" Yeah, exactly. And the sad thing is that the common person in Cyprus has no distinction between Bitcoin and Neo and B. They actually thought Neo and B was Bitcoin. So, I mean, most people I speak to nowadays, when you talk about Bitcoin, they actually say, didn't that go bust? They think that Bitcoin was Neo and B because it was such... There has not been a marketing campaign like the one that was introduced with Neo and B. It was everywhere.
Man, that is so sad. Now nobody in Cyprus trusts Bitcoin. Well,
They're preaching every day how Bitcoin is dangerous and you can buy drugs with Bitcoin.
And you can't do it with other currency,
yeah,
right?
it's like last I checked, the dollar was actually probably the drug dealer's currency of choice. So
I like to beat people in that argument because I still hear that. They say the big thing is that, well, it's really, really volatile. And I'll say, well, it depends on where you live. If you live in Argentina, by comparison, Bitcoin's very stable as compared to the Argentinian peso. And then people will say, people are just using it to buy drugs, right? And I'll say, well, no, last week I bought a bag of weed down the street and I paid cash money for it. And I'm joking, of course. Listeners, I did not buy a bag of weed last week. It was a joke. I was making a point.
Well, there is a cannabis coin now, which you can actually, they're saying it's used for buying cannabis, so,
there's ahead. A cannabis coin. I think there's also a pot coin or something like that.
Pot coin, yeah.
Listeners, I cannot say whether you should invest in those or not, although I would encourage people to invest in some of the cannabis companies and some of the hemp companies coming up. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting to invest in hemp, which is not the same as marijuana. I'm more interested in hemp from the textile perspective and from the paper making perspective and from the oil that comes from the seeds and the bread that can be made, the flour that can be made from the bread. Hemp is actually the miracle plant. But there is also, and I'm segueing into another miracle plant, which is soy, the soybean. And that's where Ivana comes in. And I think, Ivana, if Mario feels like it's okay, it's now your turn to talk about these luxury natural soy wax candles and CandleLitDay, which is your company and it's the brand where you manufacture and retail right there in Cyprus, these luxury natural soy wax candles. Tell us more.
10 years ago, I decided to, when I finished the university, as I said, I came back from New York, I came back to Cyprus. And I needed a hobby, and I was spending too much money on candles, so I kind of decided to learn how to make them. And that's how it started. It started in my kitchen, really. First, there were paraffin candles. Then slowly, after giving one to one friend, one to the other friend, they came back and they said, can we buy? So it was kind of jing in my eyes. And it kind of continued from there. And from my kitchen, it grew, it developed. I switched to natural products. And I started supplying luxury hotels and spas.
Oh, wow. That is great. Now, I don't really know much about candles. There's a guy that makes candles here in Nashville with beeswax, but soy wax candles. Now, what is the part of soy that you use to make candles?
It's a hydrogenated soy oil.
Okay.
That is derived from the beans. And it's mostly American industry.
Okay.
It is an American industry. The soy wax is produced in America. I do bring my raw materials from the US. And there is quite a few benefits of it. One, they're not toxic. They don't produce black smoke. I had a few customers who have asthma, and they told me that my candles are the only candles that they can use. You're supporting the farming industry. It's biodegradable. There is quite a few benefits compared to the other candles, which are mostly paraffin, which is in turn petrol. When I was pregnant with my first son, I used to work with paraffin. And when I was pregnant with my second son, I used to work with soy, and I saw a big difference.
Yeah.
Because when I'm melting wax, it's not like burning one candle. I'm melting in large pots.
Now, who are your customers so far?
Well, as I said, I started with supplying luxury hotels and spas because I was working from home. I wanted to be at home with the kids, and that was the only way that I could do that because they don't really care whether you have a shop or not. So I started supplying the spas, and I was making private labels for them. I still do, but that's how it started. And about 2.5 years ago, when our younger son, he was about to turn 3, and I said, okay, it's time to leave. So then I opened the retail store, which I wanted for a while. And then I opened, I created my retail brand and opened the doors to the local market.
Okay, to the local market, and just people local there in Cyprus, whether they're living there or if they're tourists. Now, do you also ship internationally? Do you have a website where...
I do. That's not something I was concentrating until now, although I did have a few requests, and yes, I have fulfilled them. So when somebody contacted me, we did ship to England and to Greece and America and Canada as well. As I said, it's not something that I concentrated. I will at the future date, but it does require a lot of work and a lot of preparations to enter different markets.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. You know, I interviewed someone on the show back in the day, as they call it, when Lid Shaw was part of the show. We interviewed a gal who owns a company online called Tlet, T-Outlet, tlet.com.
Yeah.
And she started accepting Bitcoins and Litecoins. And I think she told us that her business increased 30%. You know, that tells me that the Bitcoin community, while it is true, a lot of Bitcoin folks hold on to their Bitcoin, they consider it their savings, not hoarding, but savings, right? They still, when there's a good product out there, they will spend those Bitcoins, whether it's tea or a candle. You know, you don't necessarily have to have tea or have to have a candle, but it enhances your life. It makes you feel better. I mean, we all know everyone likes the ambiance of a candlelit dinner, right? And coming home of an evening and you have the nice glow of candles. Hey, they enhance our lives, right?
I think so. I think it makes a huge difference because you know what? Something that attracted me to candles as well. You can come home after a long day of work, just throw yourself on the couch, put on the TV, watch news, and just stay miserable. Or you have a choice to come home, you know, put some music on, light some candles, and automatically you're going to be nicer to your wife or to your husband. He's going to be nicer or she's going to be nicer to the kids and so forth. It's a ripple effect. And I know it's only candles and so many other things can have the same effect. But still, I really want people to live by candlelight.
Yeah.
And I think it makes a difference. And it goes really well with the digital currency because I always wanted to have a no-nonsense brand. I didn't want to overcharge for the products.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted a solid product with substance behind it rather than just marketing. And as I said, no-nonsense brand. And the same way, this is why I believe that it goes well with digital currency.
Nice. So now you are also obviously aware of this coin called SolarCoin. So,
Oh no,
now,
what is that? Yeah. Well, Mario, definitely, I couldn't escape it. That's all he was talking about for days and days and days.
right. So do you have any SolarCoin customers yet? Any customers who are buying your candles with SolarCoin?
Yes. We announced that we're going to be accepting SolarCoin just last week or something like that. And
3-4 days ago.
yeah, 3-4 days ago, and
Nice.
already 15 products have been shipped for a total of 30,000 SolarCoins. The first customer was Charles Roth from Florida.
Yeah, he was our first Charles Roth from Florida. Yes, Jolie did buy some candles. Yes, she did.
Oh, wow. Nice.
I knew she would.
That is so cool. You know, I'm not even sure where I have my SolarCoin stored. I think I have them. Gosh darn it. I've got to figure that out.
Well, you better figure it out because SolarCoin is about to move from proof of work to proof of stake, which means that just by having the SolarCoin wallet open, you'll be able to be generating those solar coins just from having the wallet open. So you should find them.
Yeah, I need to do that, don't I? Yeah, and listeners, do what he said. You're talking about downloading the SolarCoin blockchain, right?
Yeah, get yourselves a SolarCoin wallet.
The QT, right.
The QT. Buy yourself some SolarCoin at Bittrex exchange and just keep them there because I think, as you say, the SolarCoin will be going to the sun.
To the sun, right? Not to the moon, but to the sun.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I love it. So just a little bit more about the candles. I saw online that you were selling one, I think the scent was banana muffins.
Yeah, banana crumb muffins. That's a limited edition fragrance. Yes, there is only a few left, but it does smell lovely.
I can't eat this, can I?
Well, I always joke because I come home and the house always smells of something wonderful and freshly baked, and then I realize that it's not really food, it's just candles.
Yeah, it can't be food. I don't cook.
Ironically, her candles probably taste better than her food. I don't know if I should say that on the podcast, if I get in trouble for that.
It's okay.
I can edit that out if you want me to. It's really up to
fine.
you. I don't want to cause a
Really,
domestic
trust
dispute.
me, even my kids, they beg me not to cook.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, you know, it really is true about candlelight, and lighting is so important. I've known people, you go over to their house, and they just have one overhead bare bulb there, and you think, man, do they not know about lighting? You know, you can go down to Goodwill, you can go down to the thrift store, you can go to a garage sale, and you can get a little table lamp, and you put it on a table, you can get a floor lamp, and you put it on the floor. A lamp is easy to fix if it's broken, and so you can have these little inexpensive lights around your house that really add a wonderful ambience that just makes you feel good about being home at night.
Absolutely, and fireplace.
And fireplace, exactly,
yeah,
and candles.
And it makes the family also kind of gather more together.
Yes.
I saw that when we go to fireplace in the winter, we kind of tend to gather around the fireplace and spend more time together during the winter.
Yeah, that's nice. Wow. Yeah, well, I wish I had a family.
Well, you will. Now you have, you have put it out there to the universe at the beginning of the podcast. So
That's right.
So who knows? Yeah, so we did have SolarCoin customers, and we thanked them. It's quite exciting. As I said, this is Mario's baby. This is something that he was very, very passionate about, and that he was nagging me on and on and on to do. And I just didn't really have the time to concentrate on it. But I told him, you know what, just go for it. Just do it. And he did it. And it's great. And it's really, really, really exciting.
Yeah, because I know from Cyprus, very few people, after everything we discussed with Neo and B, very few people in Cyprus will invest in Bitcoin now. You have to know and understand what Bitcoin is in Cyprus to invest. No person on the street will invest. But, if you give them an alternative currency where they can receive coins as a subsidy with no strings attached, and you marry that with an effective campaign, very few people will say no. I mean, the future of SolarCoin is directly related to its adoption. Cyprus has sun, as we said, 300 days of the year.
Yeah.
And yet, Cypriots, we pay extortionate electricity prices. We've got actually one of the highest electricity prices in Europe.
It's true. It's crazy.
And we have sun all the time because more and more people are moving towards solar power, but it's still very expensive, to install a effective photovoltaic system. Cost you 4, 5, 6,000 euro. So, I mean, I'm a volunteer for Cyprus, and my focus for next year is going to be to approach the sellers of these panels and to educate them on the benefits of SolarCoin, so that, all of a sudden they have another tool to add value to their products. I mean, not only does the customer save electricity costs, but now they can claim SolarCoin as a reward subsidy for the power they generate. SolarCoin, I should also mention that they've actually got this referral system now that if you refer others to SolarCoin, you get 10% of the first year's claim. So if there's 50 SolarCoin claimed in a year, then the person that referred would get 5 SolarCoin as well. So these installers, they can actually benefit from people claiming those solar coins. They can get a referral as well. So before you know it, you've got these solar retailers and they're actively pushing solar coin to their customers. The customer will see he'll be getting these solar coins as a reward. Obviously, he's going to keep them until they've generated a value. There's no point in selling a solar coin when it's 1, 2, 5 cents. It has to have some real value before they actually want to use those solar coins. And the community firmly believes that that value is approximately $20 to $30.
Right.
And I can really, really see it happening. I mean, we've got ourselves a mining solution. It's like GPU mining. It's like you're mining, but instead of using a graphics card, you're using the sun to mine. And anyone has the power to use this technology as long as you have a photovoltaic system. I ask you this question. If you have a photovoltaic system and someone says to you, well, you can claim solar coins just for using it, no strings attached, would you say no? Who's going to say no to that?
No, nobody's going to say no. And, the other thing is you talk about setting up a photovoltaic system, a PV system for your house. You go back just 10 years and setting up something like that might have been $15,000. Now it's down to $5,000. And, we might see in 5 or 10 years or less that you can set up a whole PV system for your house, right? For $1,000 or under $1,000. Wouldn't that be wonderful? All of a sudden you can go and buy it at, and I hate to say the name, Home Depot, but one of the big box stores, right? Or Lowe's or something like that, or just down to the solar store. I love the idea that solar technology is making it more and more affordable. And then I just love the idea that you can be running your solar system and earning solar coins, and the value of the solar coin is going to continue to go up. Yeah, I mean, this is, for me, as far as digital currency goes, this is the coin to invest in for the future. It doesn't mean you're going to get rich if you buy 1,000 or 10,000 solar coins right now, but it might mean that you can get rich off of it if you're willing to hold them for 5 or 10 years. And I'm not saying this with the idea that getting rich is the most important thing in the world, but I am saying that to inspire the people who like to invest in alternative currencies besides Bitcoins, that this one, to me, from everything I've read, from everything I've heard, and from talking with you guys, this altcoin makes more sense than any other altcoin that I know. Maybe Litecoin, because it's like the little brother of Bitcoin, is an exception, but this just makes so much sense to me.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
So guys, hey, listen, it's been great talking with you guys.
Yeah,
and
you too.
tell our listeners, if you would, how they can get in touch with you. Mario, if they want to talk with you more about anything that you're working on with SolarCoin, and Ivana, if they want to talk with you about how to order some luxury natural soy wax candles, what's the best way for our listeners to get in touch with you guys?
Well, my website is CandleLitDay.com. We are redoing the website currently, so, you can keep on checking in. We are active on Facebook as well, which is facebook.com/CandleLitDay.
You have many different scents that people can choose from, and they can go to your Facebook page and they can find those?
Yeah, I can always send a list if we did an update on the website, because as I said, we are redoing it, because currently our website is in Flash, and with people having iPads, that's a problem, so that's why we are redoing it. So where to go now is Facebook.
You can also catch us on Twitter as well, at CandleLitDay. And me, if anyone wants to, feel free to email me with any questions regarding SolarCoin. You can find me on mazzaneo@gmail.com. That's MAZZANEO, November Echo Oscar, that is, at gmail.com.
Nice.
So, I will answer any questions anyone has regarding SolarCoin, no problem. I will spread the word, brother.
All right. We've been talking with Mario and Ivana. They're in Limassol, Cyprus, where the sun is shining almost all the time. Guys, it's been great talking with you. If I'm ever
You too.
If I'm ever in Cyprus, can I come by and visit you guys?
Visit us. You can stay with us.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, man, that would be great. It's been a really long time since I've had a vacation down at the ocean, the sand, the surf, the seagulls, and the sun. Hey, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Now climb aboard, y'all. This train is bound for glory. And there's plenty of room for all. Well, Satoshi Nakamoto, that's a name I love to say. And we don't know much about him, but he came to save the day. When he wrote about the way things are and the way things ought to be, he gave us all a protocol this world had never seen. Oh, Bitcoin, as you're going into the old blockchain. Oh, Bitcoin, I know you're going to rain, till everybody knows, till everybody knows your name. Down the road it will be told about the death of old Mt. Gox, about traders trading altar coins and miners mining blocks. But them good old boys back in Illinois and on down through Tennessee, see, they don't care to be a millionaire, they're just wanting to be free. Oh, Bitcoin, as you're going into the old blockchain. Oh, Bitcoin, I know you're going to rain, till everybody knows, till everybody knows your name. Halls of Parliament, while the bankers count our money out for every government. Oh, Bitcoin flies on through the skies of virtuality, a promise to deliver us from age-old tyranny. Oh, Bitcoin, as you're going into the old blockchain. Oh, Bitcoin, I know you're going to rain, till everybody knows, till everybody knows your name. Till everybody knows, till everybody knows your... Give me some exposure. Everybody knows your name, sing it. Oh, Lord, pass me some more. Oh, Lord, before I have to go. Oh, Lord, pass me some more. Oh, Lord, before I have to go. Thank you, East Nashville. Y'all be good to each other out there, you hear? I know that it may sound absurd, but I have for you a magic word, and today's magic word is candle. C-A-N-D-L-E. Candle, as in the sentence, I bought a natural soy wax candle from CandleLitDay, and I paid with SolarCoins. I brought it home, and that evening I lit it, and Max and I danced around the warm glow of the flames like two savages, two wild men. Rawr! But anyway, it was supposed to have a nice image there of a candle. It was a very, very nice, relaxing, warm, cast a very nice, warm glow. Although the shadows of Max on the wall were terrifying. I'd like to thank my guests on the show today, Mario Neoglios, who talked to us about the future and importance of the SolarCoin project, and Ivana Mladenovic Neoglios, the owner of CandleLitDay, purveyor of luxury natural soy wax candles, lovingly made by hand right there in Cyprus. And now, an important question for all you small business owners and startups out there. Do you have a business that needs more exposure? Do you want to increase your customer base and increase your profits? Here's something to think about for your business. This podcast you're listening to right now, Bitcoins and Gravy, has over 10,000 weekly listeners and is heard each week in over 30 different countries around the world. The Bitcoin sphere is expanding exponentially, and Bitcoins and Gravy is expanding in pace with this relatively new technology. So as our listener base grows, so does the potential for your business to reach more and more customers here in North America, South America, Europe, Asia, and around the globe. To find out how to advertise on Bitcoins and Gravy, just email me at the following address: howdy@bitcoinsandgravy.com. That's howdy, Howdy, howdy@bitcoinsandgravy.com. I can produce for you a high-quality 30-second spot or a 1-minute spot for your business right here at the Treehouse Studio in Nashville, Tennessee. The cost of these ads is very affordable, and because everyone knows I'm a nice guy, I am always willing to work with your budget. Creative advertising strategies and packages are available. Listen, advertising does work. Otherwise, people wouldn't do it, right? Do something nice for your business by pushing it forward and taking it to the next level. If you've enjoyed the show today, please take a minute to leave a comment on Let's Talk Bitcoin in the comments section right there below the show notes. You can also leave a message on SoundCloud or do the old-fashioned thing and send me an email. And of course, Bitcoin and Litecoin tips are always appreciated by the hardworking writers and podcasters in the Bitcoin world. Many of us work as volunteers and sure could use those tips. You can send me $5 or 5 cents, and I will be just as happy knowing that this podcast put a smile on your face or made your day a little bit better. Signing off now from East Nashville, Tennessee, I'm your host, John Barrett, with my trusty companion Maxwell by my side. Say goodbye, Maxwell. Y'all be good to each other out there now, and remember, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men and women to do nothing.
"1984 is, I believe, a quite terrifying masterpiece. So terrifying, in fact, I don't think I should like to read another like it."
I am not absolutely dissatisfied with it. I think it is a good idea, but the execution would have been better if I had not been under the influence of TB when I wrote it.
You once claimed that you have an ability to face unpleasant facts. Is that what you've demonstrated in 1984 by drawing an accurate portrait of the future?
I think that allowing for the book being, after all, a parody, something like 1984 could actually happen. This is the direction the world is going in at the present time. In our world, there will be no emotions except fear, rage, triumph, and self-abasement. The sex instinct will be eradicated. We shall abolish the orgasm. There will be no loyalty except loyalty to the party. But always there will be the intoxication of power. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. The moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is a simple one. Don't let it happen. It depends on you.